I'm back. We're going to continue where we left off on making the little template to get the front box into place. So scribing around the bottom edge so that we can make sure that it'll fit. So let's get that started or continue to work on that. This is a piece of foam core, and I pushed it down a little bit to make a notch in each of the spots where those bars are. That will give me the exact location of these two pieces, which is where those are going to be. So I started scribing this earlier, as you saw, and I'm just using an Allen wrench taped to a pencil, and then I can follow the bottom of the floor area and then go up and over everything. And then I do need to take into account the overall heights. So this would be the floor height here and here. Then I can just make sure that I'm still the right height, and I am. And on the other end, okay. So those are pretty good markings. And so I'll go ahead and use a square or just something square to make sure that I've got those marks. Again, we're looking for this dent. So I'm just using that piece to make sure that I do have it lined up. And get that bottom corner. I think I'll use a longer one and connect those two. Okay, so that will be essentially my cutting line, because the whole point of this is this will end up getting cut into the bottom of this, because that's going to fit into that space. All right, that should fit in there pretty close, and then we can scribe anything that's a little off. Let's go try it out. Oh, that's pretty close already. Jeez. Didn't expect that. Okay, actually, I think I need to cut those side pieces up because that's not all the way down yet. So I trimmed these off a little bit because I want it to actually touch right now and have to scribe it to get it closer. And it was actually fitting all the way down in there, and I didn't expect that. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Pretty close to down where I want it because I want it to just rest on top the rubber seal stuff. So this side's not quite far enough down, but that's good, because that means it's resting on that metal piece, and I can just tap it down to squish it. Ah, that looks like it's right there. All right, so that will give me my cutting template for the piece that's going to go right here. So we can cut it out so that this rests on the bottom, and then those pieces get cut out. I got to figure out exactly how far forward and back, but that's not a big deal. I just need to put the trolley thing back in position, and then I can simply tell where this meets, where it lands. Okay, now slide this forward again where it goes. Just push down on these little levers at the same time. Okay, and then that locks into the track on that spot. This is going to be the front piece, and my plan was to have it go right here. I want to double check to make sure that there's metal under there, and then I'll have to scribe around that a little bit so that it won't be sitting up on top of these pieces here. All of this under here is going to be storage, and these tracks, these trolley pieces, will be inside that storage, so I won't have to worry about them. Obviously, they'll take up a little bit of space. I'll just throw a cloth or something down to keep everything clean. That's how far forward I want it. Okay, hold that in place, and then I can mark the center of each one of these metal pieces, and then I'll be able to line that up with the template I drew. All right, so this is where I put the little marks. So those are the center of those rods. So then I can line up the bottom edge of the template all the way across, making sure that these marks stay in the center of those slots. All right, that should be it. And of course, all of this area is going to be storage under there. Having the right blade would help. One of those thin blades would have been better. Of course, I can use a file to clean them up any more than if I need more. We can test that, see how that fits. It looks pretty good. Well, let's check it out, because this won't be as flexible as foam core, so it'll have to be a better fit. Okay, that's a little bit too tight right there. The other one fits. I need to sand that out, or file that out just a little bit. There we go. So it's hitting something. These edges right here were hitting, and that's because this piece is not straight down. It kind of wedges on the sides. I'm just going to take the razor blade knife and just shave those off a little bit where it's hitting. I think that does it. If I need to, I can sand it a little bit more, but I think that does it. I think we've got a pretty darn good fit now. So when this comes into this side, and then I press this down, it looks like I've got a pretty good fit along there. So that's where I'm going with it so far. So I'll just add a piece of foam core to that. The tough part is keeping it straight up and down. Looks extremely close. Might have to sand a little bit. Okay, that'll be the template for the inside. The inside layer. We'll go test it, make sure it fits, and then cut the other one if it fits. So I got that cut, that fits. I can use this as the template for the other one and get that one cut for the other side. Looks good. I got all 4 end pieces cut now and kind of cleaned up, and they don't have to be exactly precise. It's not like I'm going to seal them in place or anything, though, you know, if you wanted to make it tighter, you could. So next we can start putting this together. But I've got one more piece to do, and that's the front piece that's going to go between these first two. Let's go check that out. Because of where I decided to put the box, this cross piece is going to be on top of these end caps, which means I need to scribe around the end caps so that it'll drop down the correct amount. Now, you could take the end caps off or put it further in front. If I put it all the way in front, I would still have to scribe a little bit, I think. No, I probably wouldn't. But I was concerned that the seat might run into it if we try to put it all the way back. And these do come off, so if you don't care about leaving them on, you could just pop them off of there, and then you've got the metal plates underneath. But I decided that I didn't really want to take these off, so we'll just scribe around them. Okay, I just need to square those off a little bit. I could just take one out and use it as a tracing template. Jeez, what a fool. Okay, let's check it that way. Okay, I think that's good enough to start with. If I find it a little off later, I can just sand it off, because of course this whole box is going to come off. And I do have to fix that corner, because that was supposed to be that corner. I had it upside down and I cut that piece, so now I'll glue that piece back on. Jeez. Finally, it's time to assemble these boxes. I was planning on starting with the big one in front that goes all the way across as one big piece, and there's our main storage. But of course, I screwed up and cut off this corner instead of that corner to start with, because I had the piece upside down. So until this epoxy stuff, the JB Weld sets, I'll work on the other one. So I'll start with the middle sections first. Each one of them will have two uprights, a top piece. Gotta make sure I get these angled the right way. No, I almost had it wrong. So there's the angle piece. That will go here, and that will match that slope. And then one of the short pieces, and it also angles up. Oh, that piece, those four pieces will go together, and then they'll get a sheet of this on the top and bottom, and these are also cut at an angle. And then this will be another storage area. I'll put a hatch in there to get into it. I'll be pre-drilling with one of the, I don't know what these bits are called, countersink bits. The drill bit itself has a taper. I'm going to tape it together to hold the pieces together while I get them started. Okay. Make sure I don't over tighten, because that'll break the plywood for sure.
After dry fitting it all with just screws, I disassembled it, sanded off the finish on the mating surfaces, and then reassembled it using glue and the screws.
The long hinge, flat corner brace. So I've got a long hinge on there, one of the long continuous hinge, piano hinge, and I've got it upside down right now so that the knuckles of the hinge are in the space between these. That way I can use it to make sure that I've got them properly parallel and tight up against there. And I'll start a couple of screws in it, and then I'll be able to take it off, flip it over, and screw it the right way. That'll leave a little bit of a gap between these two pieces, which will allow for a little bit more movement if I've got it wrong in the van, or if there's a difference of flooring in the van. Oh, I'm trying to get it right in the center. And like I said, I'll get 3 in each side. So I'm pushing it tight up against there and down, and dropping the screw. Okay, now we'll make sure that we've got this up snugly in there, and we do. And then centered. So that gets that started. I need to cut through 1/2 of this to make it the way I want it. So right now they're connected. So I need to, if I want to raise one, I need to raise them both at the same time so I don't bend that. So that gets me a starting point. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew that, flip it over, and get that piece cut. So I'm going to just flip it over this way. So then my cut is right here. I forgot. I want to route out a groove for this, so I need to mark that on there. I want to route that, use the router and route it down by that amount so that the hinge sets in there. So I've got the hinge cut in half on the one side. The other side is still one piece. That way it will line up very well and I can still get the two halves moving. So started screwing down, and I had to move a few of the screws because I didn't buy the hinge, so I didn't measure the spacing, so I had some of the screws for the box right where these screws need to go. So I went ahead and moved those screws and get them started. Okay, it's more even. A little bit out here, but I don't care. Hello?
Oh, wow. I can see how it's going.
Okay, where the blue tape is, that's where I need to repair holes.
Okay.
Because that's where I had to move screws from these original spots.
Oh, to get that in there.
Yeah, because
okay.
I didn't have this, so I didn't know the screw
Right.
spacing, didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I could have had it not happen. I could have cut this hinge into two pieces, cut an extra little bit off
And
so that I
just-
could shift it
Oh, yeah.
and just miss them.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that.
Okay. Cool.
I wanted to have one long hinge, and then I just cut a
That's
spot
about
out.
there. So that they can be two different
Two separate
pieces.
pieces on this side.
Nice.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
Look. Oh, I can show you my test piece. And this is the final piece that goes down here. Okay. So we're done couching.
Okay.
And we put this down here to go sleeping.
Uh-huh.
And then we take this from wherever we've stored it, and I'm pretty sure I know a possibility of where.
Okay.
But anyway, we take it and we put it here. And then the question is, what keeps it from going there?
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Potentially. I mean, it might not be as much of a problem because I have plans for down there.
Right.
And then you're done with the sleeping, you're going back to couching, and you go here, and we want to use this. I'm pretty sure we're going to use this as the back.
Okay.
I mean, one of these two sides is going to have a whole hatch,
Oh, right.
and you have to
right.
be able to remove that hatch, so
Right.
it needs a hole to be able
Right.
to. The hatch is here. Well, then you could leave a finger hole here, because then it gives you. You go this way, and you
Right.
tilt it this way, you go this way, and it pops the lid out.
Yeah, okay.
The fact that all of this is together will make it heavier to get in and out.
And you're not
Putting-
taking it out, in and out every day.
No.
Or-
And just so we can see, what does it weigh now? I mean, see, it's not very
No,
heavy.
it's not very
It's
heavy.
probably 30 pounds or something, 40 pounds. I don't even think it's 40.
Yeah.
All of this is less than one sheet of the ply.
Yeah. And because the way it is, the shape of it.
Yeah, it's
easy to carry.
really easy
Yeah.
to move. You know, if I were going to move it alone, I would either have some kind of latch here or just a piece of tape or something so that it won't,
Won't
if
tip
I
on
tip
you.
it up,
It
because
won't
to
tip.
get it in
You have
by
to tip it.
myself, I would tip it this direction
Oh, okay.
and move it,
Oh, okay.
because then I could grab onto it easily.
Yeah.
You know, so then I'd want to take these or something so that these don't
Something,
move
so,
around.
yeah. Nice. I like it.
But, yeah, and there's some flex to it, which will help conform to any inaccuracy that I've done for
Yeah.
measuring on
Yep.
the floor. But it's really, all the pieces fit in there quite nicely. It's a good fit.
It's looking good. So it's almost 5:30.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay,
do you
so
want
we
to check
should
the
go for a walk.
Yeah, do you need to check the freeze dryer first?
I'm going to take the seats out, and I'll link to the Bruce Parks video that he goes over this so well. So there's just a clip here and here, and then there's one here and on the other side. So okay.
And you have sound going, right? Because you're not wearing your thing.
It has crap sound.
Okay.
And I figured that's good enough. I'll steer people to Bruce Parks'
Parks.
video.
Right.
Because he shows it so well. The end piece, that comes off the bolt really easily. There we go. Take off. And out of there. And that clip. Okay. And no, I don't buy everything at Costco because Costco doesn't sell everything. Come off of there. Yep, the front part is already off. And lift it out of here.
Yeah.
2 bolts here and then 3 studs. Putting them back in. I was wondering if I could just bungee it into place right here.
Okay, well, you hit the...
There we go. Just a little ball bungee there. It'll hold it in place. And okay, metal bar there, so that's good for holding in this front. And it's not terribly heavy, 60 pounds or so. Now we've got this giant cavernous space to work with. Haha. I like it. So we've got the sleeping platforms, and now I want to extend this one at least till it gets to this precipice here, because then we've got this giant cavern that we can use for the toilet area and the refrigerator area and storage. So depending on what we use for a refrigerator, a cooler or an actual refrigerator, the plan is that it will probably be up at this floor height for the bottom of it. And then all of this could be storage underneath. This looks so much bigger when those are out.
Yes, yes it does.
I think first I want to make something that does essentially that. So what do you think?
Yes, do you want some paper or something to write measurements on?
Sure, because there'll be 2 layers here. There's one layer is going to be right on in here, and then you can see. Then that, if we get the angle right, then that brings this one right up to here. Okay, I think we'll start with a strip along here, 7 inches. I want it to come down, so this needs to be at this height. Because the plan would be that it would be continue at the same slope as this, or it could be slightly up, which would be level to the world, assuming you're parked in a perfect spot. So actually, we want it to go that high. Okay.
It's like 10 1/4.
Okay, so like 10 1/4. Okay. Okay, so right there. Now, I'll start at the bottom. About 41?
Yes.
Okay, 41 at the bottom. And 42 at the top. Okay.
And then I need some other smaller pieces that are going to go here. And I won't know exactly until we get using this across there and figuring out what I can fit in there.
Okay.
These pieces now. This upright piece. And I've got that bevel now set to the angle that that is. And then this piece will go in here, and I'll screw and glue that together. And this edge will support the end of the bed portions. This will go on top of that. And I'll have to get it exactly the right position. I don't have that yet. So all three of those will be screwed together. And then I think I'm going to use a kind of a J-bolt in here to hook onto those latch points for the seat, because then the nut for that will be under here and out of the way. So I don't want anything sticking up here because we're going to be going past here. And then next, the footboard area for the bed will drop in here, and that's why this is here, is to support that end, because these ends are higher than the middle. That's what we've got so far. And I don't mind if there's minor differences, because it's all going to be covered with the foam pad or the mattress area. And this one will be all the way down to here. And that one will stop here, and then there'll be storage unit here. Okay, that's what we've got so far. That actually looks pretty nice.
That's our storage box that goes on top of the van. We've had that for 30 years or a little more, and it's served us very well. Holds a lot of stuff. It's about 8 feet long or so. When we'd go camping, we'd put all of our storage in that when we just had a car. So it's done very well. That's our garage wall. So part of it's covered with a few boxes. Those are boxes with some walnuts and some little firewood pieces from those trees we cut down. Probably bring those on camping trips. So that's how we got to where we're at now. You can see we've got some of the main structures kind of taken care of. And since this video is done, I've also added the floor piece in the very back. So that'll be coming up on the next video. But overall, it's kind of slow because I work kind of slow. So coming up next, we'll continue on the storage areas and kind of figure out what areas can be used for storage and how much storage we really need. People that are using their minivan for long-term living need a completely different storage system than what we need. We're only after a few weeks. Thanks for watching and following along with the progress.